Before my daughter Sophia was 2 years old, she had flown on over 20 flights. I mean, did you know that when kids are under 2, they fly for free? Man, we took advantage of that program. When you fly with kids, you get special attention. Because when they do that announcement at the beginning of the flight, things called the pre-flight announcement, they tell you things about seat belts, they tell you about if we land in water, what to do, if we lose cabin pressure, what to do. Man, now that I think about it, flying is kind of scary. But anyway, they tell you about these ideas, what to do. And they tell you that if the cabin loses pressure, these oxygen masks will come down and to put one on so you can breathe. Well, they very specifically say that if you're flying with a child or someone who needs assistance, to put your mask on first before you try to put theirs on. As I think about that, it makes a lot of sense. Because could you imagine? I don't know what little kids think, and I always want to know, like, what is a little child thinking? You know, when there's an infant and everybody's going, "Hey, how are you? How are you?" And that kid might be thinking, "What are these people doing? Get out of my face." I don't know, but I imagine if this happened, and thankfully it never happened so far, but if I had to put a mask on my 1-year-old or 1.5-year-old, and they would be frightened because everyone else is kind of freaking out because all of a sudden these masks start falling down, kids looking around going, "What's going on?" People putting them on there going, could you imagine what this kid might be thinking? They might be thinking things like, "What is going on? What's that thing strapped to everybody's face? Why they trying to put it on my face? Why don't they have one on? Mommy, why don't you have one? Why are you putting it on my face, mommy? Get me out of here!" That would be pretty interesting to know what these kids are thinking. But if I was attempting to put my child's mask on first without having mine on, they might think something's wrong. So they tell you to put yours on first because if you can't breathe, you can't help nobody else breathe. If I'm running out of oxygen, I'm trying to get that on my kid and I'm fighting my kid to put it on, I'm going to run out of air and I won't be able to help the kid. For those of us who serve others, or especially as parents, sometimes the idea of me first is a non-existing thought. We don't think about ourselves first, and I think we should. So today I want to talk about this idea of you first. Yes, you first. You may have been told growing up that it's selfish to think about yourself first. It's wrong. It's not about you. But in this situation, it is about you. You first, leading from the inside out. Listen, if you don't take care of yourself, you have nothing to give to anyone else. So here's what I want you to write down. I want you to really think about this. This is your take home. This is the statement of, this is the main thing. So write this down, etch it on your forehead, do whatever you gotta do to remember this one quote. Here it is. If my output exceeds my input, my upkeep will be my downfall. If my output exceeds my input, my upkeep will be my downfall. If my output exceeds my input, my upkeep will be my downfall. See, I said it 3 times so you can say it with me. Let's try it. If my output exceeds my input, my upkeep will be my downfall. If my output, I'm talking about what you give out to the world, how you serve others, the energy, the time, the effort you put into serving others. When you're putting so much out, if you put so much out and that much that you put out exceeds what you're putting into yourself, your time alone, getting replenished, putting things into yourself, investing in yourself emotionally, socially, intellectually, physically. If what you put out exceeds what you put in, keeping that up, you keep doing that, will lead to your downfall. And many of you can relate, whether it's to the clown juggling things. I'm not calling you a clown, but the idea is there, that you're juggling these things and guess what? You start dropping balls. You can't keep up. Or even worse, you're juggling those plates. You ever seen that guy with the plates and he's spinning plates and all these different things on his fingers and sticks? And guess what? Eventually, some of those plates are starting to fall. And you may feel that these plates and these balls are dropping all around you and you feel empty. But instead of getting replenished, many of us will keep trying harder and harder and harder, spending more and more and more because sometimes we get our value from doing and not just being. I'm more concerned about who you are as a person than I am about what you do, because what you do flows from who you are. And if you're not building yourself up, if you're not being in a place where you're healthy, you can't do much. Have you ever played the gas game? Like, you're driving your vehicle and you know you need gas, but you look at the thing, it's on E, but you think, oh, I can get a little further. I've done that before, and guess what? I found myself walking to the gas station with a gas can. Because if you use more gas that you put in the car, you won't go anywhere. The same thing is true about us as humans, those who serve. If your output exceeds your input, your upkeep will be your downfall. You have to make sure that you put you first, that you replenish yourself. You're putting something in that you will have something to give out. I want to encourage you not to play the gas game with your life, because you matter and the work you do matters. I want you to do three things. I want you to evaluate, I want you to make a plan, I want you to execute that plan. Let's talk about all three. Evaluate. Here's some questions I want you to ask yourself about this idea. If my output exceeds my input, my upkeep will be my downfall. Question number one, do I feel like I'm juggling a bunch of things and things around me keep falling? Number two, do I feel frustrated, confused, agitated, and angry because I can't do all the things that I think I should be doing? Number three, am I simply just doing too much? It's important to be honest with yourself. This is that idea of self-awareness. Really evaluate these things in a really deep way. Maybe you need someone to help you evaluate these things. Maybe you have a spouse, a good friend, maybe one of your coworkers can help you really evaluate these three questions. Now let's move to the self-management part. The idea is this. Ask yourself this question that me and my wife have been asking ourselves, and it's really saved my life. I mean, literally saved my life, my marriage. This one question is this: what is mine to do? What is mine to do? You can do a lot of things. And honestly, the way our world is structured with social media and everybody telling you all these things, everybody will tell you how you should be living your life. But your question is, what is mine to do? Ask yourself, do I need to do some subtraction of some things in my life so I can manage myself, my relationships, and my work better? Even ask yourself, do I need help managing or evaluating where I find myself? Do I need help? And listen to me, there's nothing wrong with getting help. Getting help is not a sign of weakness. Getting help is a sign of maturity, because we all need help. Even the helpers need help. Once you do the evaluation, move on to the plan. Write down a plan, write it down. I will do this by this time. Make it very concrete. I will subtract this from my life at this time. Whatever it may be for your life. Maybe it's adding things. Hopefully it's not. It's usually subtracting some things and putting focus or effort into things that really do matter for you and those around you. But write it down. I will do blank by blank. Share that plan with someone. Share it with someone who will follow up with you to make sure that you will do what you say you're going to do when you get to the third step, and that is executing your plan. Actually put into motion, choosing to do what you know you should do. It's one thing to write it down and say, hey, this is a good idea, but you got to execute. I'll put it this way. Sometimes we make decisions and we say, I'm going to do this. I decide to do it. But that decision is not done until you choose to do it. I believe this. Decisions are thoughts and choices are actions. You have to choose to execute this plan to put yourself in a better place. Again, if my output exceeds my input, my upkeep will be my downfall. See, this is true for us and for the people we work with, the students you work with, because some of them are trying to do too much. And many of them are dealing with stress and some students, some research says some of these students are dealing with PTSD, like the same thing that these soldiers come back with because they got so much pressure. We can help them evaluate this to make sure they're not putting too much on themselves, too much pressure, and they're not getting anything done. We need to do it ourselves and model that for them and learn with them. Listen, cars don't run without gas, and you can't help someone else breathe if you can't breathe. So choose well, take care of you first, and lead from the inside out. Thanks for taking time to watch this video, and I would love to hear from you. So take a moment, leave me a message by visiting my website at hellomrbrown.com.